I'm Leitzi Gonzalez. Welcome to the video version of the I-20 Esports Talk. Today, I interview Leo Andreolli from Brazil. Leo went to the US in 2015, but he didn't go straight to college. He chose to go to high school first, and he shares everything about his experience with us. We also talked about how it was to go to a religious school and how it was to graduate during the pandemic. Let's take a look. First things first, I just want to say thank you so much for taking your time to talking to me today. I know you're very busy, so thank you.
Yeah, first of all, just like you said, I'm busy, you're busy, and thanks for taking your time as well. Thanks for letting me introduce myself and tell a little bit of my experience in the US. I'm sure a lot of people would like to know how it is to live there, how it is to study and play at the same time. So I'm here for any questions that you may have.
Awesome. So you were telling me you went to the US in 2015, and then you started university in 2016, right? So what motivated you, first of all, to go to the high school there?
Yeah, so I played tennis since I was 10 years old. And ever since I turned, I think 15, 14 maybe, I decided that I wanted to go to college. You're Brazilian, I'm sure you know well. In Brazil, we don't have the opportunity of studying and playing at the same time. You know, it's very hard to do both at the same time at a good level. So when I first learned that the US had a good opportunity of you studying and playing, studying and doing sport at a high level at the same time, I was actually fascinated by that, and I'm sure anyone would like to do that. So as soon as I learned that I really wanted to go to the US and start my college career. So what I didn't want to go straight to college because I knew that I wanted to be prepared for that. And since it was a decision that I took when I was young, the only thing that I could do in order to get prepared, in order to be ready for the opportunity that I was facing, it was by choosing to do high school in the US. So when I moved to the US, 2015, I actually went to Florida in a tennis academy where I had the opportunity of also study and play at the same time. But back then it was high school. So I was finishing my high school and, already learning the language, managing how it is to study and play at the same time, focus on how to, go to school and then right after school, go to the courts, and practice at the same time. So literally having a busy day, and you were a college player, you know how it is. And that's one of the reasons I did that in the first place.
Yeah, for sure. It's a crazy routine, and that's awesome that you play high school first. Because I think did you have to take the TOEFL and an SAT?
So I did. I actually did 2 years of high school there. So because of credits and all those things, when they first get your credits from your Brazilian courses, and so they moved me 1 year back in high school. But I managed to do that year back in only half year. So in 1.5 years, I finished my high school in the US. And because of that, I didn't need to do any, I actually took the SAT, but I didn't need to take the TOEFL.
Yeah, and how was the transition between going from high school to 4-year university?
So when I think about that, I'm really grateful that I actually chose to go to high school before going straight to college. When you live in the US and you play sports at a high school, I'm sure a lot of people would know that as well. But I'm not going to say you're 100% prepared, but definitely you have a feeling of what you're going to expect, or what you're going to do in your college career. So I would say that it would be harder for me if I went straight to college, but the transition, it was tougher because in high school, everyone is doing everything for you. You have people there telling you what to do. It's mandatory for you to go to classes. And when you go to college, it's all up to you. If you want to go to classes, you go to classes. If you don't go to classes, maybe they're going to tell your coach. You know how it is. Maybe they're not going to tell your coach. But it's you. You're grown now. You're another person. So you decide what you want to do.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge we have once we get there, for sure. And you major in finances and economics, right?
Right.
Was that something you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I was always fascinated about numbers, and helping people. So the reason I chose to do finance and economics was because I would be able to, combine these two things, help people and use numbers, in for my life. So, and you were a college player, you were a tennis player as well. And I like to tell this to all the other people that when you go to college, it's not only about tennis. The reason I really like to go to college when combining college with my degree and a lot of other degrees is because when you play tennis for yourself, when you play professional, you're only by yourself. So you don't have to listen to anyone. You don't have to do anything that anyone's telling you. So it's only by yourself. In college, is different. You're representing a team. They're paying you to be there. They're paying your expenses when you travel. They're paying everything. So you're responding to someone. And when it comes to that, compared to your professional life, I think that you got to be coachable. And it's not only by playing by yourself anymore, like in real life, but also playing for your team. And in finance, it's all about that. In finance, you have to, you're helping other people by yourself. So you have you're technically in a business by yourself, but you're representing someone else that is bigger than you. You know.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's very nice about playing college tennis is that we play like individual sport, and then we go to college and it's all about the team. Like if you win,
Exactly.
it doesn't matter. The whole team needs to win. So yeah,
Exactly.
that's really really interesting. And what was the best memory you have to playing on a college team?
Of course, there's a lot of memories. When it comes to playing college, every single match, every single travel, every single one of those things, they give you a memory. Even all those practices. Because everyone puts so much energy into it that it's not only about one moment. Of course, there's a moment when you win conference. There's a moment when you win an important match. There's a moment when you're traveling by the whole team with the whole team. There's moments when you have to manage sometimes practice with final exams. So there's a lot of moments, and if I would give you one moment, I would be lying for both of us because you know how it is. I don't want to give you a moment because every moment in my college career was a good moment. Ever since my first match, I thought it was going to be the most energetic match or the most energetic as a team, would be the most energetic day. But every time he was getting better, every time you feel like, oh, this is so nice to do, even if I'm feeling down, someone else is there to back me up. So I'm sorry, I'm not giving you one, but I gave you a lot of them. But
Yeah, I
I'm sure
mean,
whoever
it's
is
hard.
watching this would understand. Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely hard. I also have a lot of memories, and it's definitely hard to pick one. And we met in Hawaii when you guys were playing University of Hawaii, and you all
right.
seem to be so connect to each other on and off the court. And I noticed most of the players on your team were international students. How was that? I don't know, culture on the team, living and playing with these guys. I really hope you're enjoying this week's episode. Make sure to follow the I2N Sports Talk on Instagram and subscribe to the podcast version on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. I'll link in the description below. Now, let's get back to it.
Yeah, so this is an important aspect that you just brought up because when you met us in Hawaii, actually all the team were international. So we're all foreign, some of us from the same country and most of us from other countries. So having this culture is definitely nice because um, you you're really willing to learn what the others have to give you. When you move to America, of course you want to learn how the American people act. Of course you want to learn how they work, how their mindset works. But when it comes to a different culture, I think it's all about their mentality and how you're going to be together to help someone. Because I think, and you probably think the same way when you first moved to America, that you wanted to create a family, not a family like in the manner of speaking, but a family where you can have your friends with you and you can rely on them, because you're not going to have your parents with you, you're not going to have your siblings with you, so you got to have someone by your side that you're going to look for when you need someone to talk, when you need someone to spend time. So this team helped me a lot in that scenario, because we didn't have any American on the team back then, and because of that, everyone would be looking for each other when they needed someone to be with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So we were with each other all the time, and this made us create a culture, a chemistry on the court as well as off the court, that a lot of teams didn't have when they are bigger teams, or a lot of Americans. And I'm not blaming Americans. They also have very good energy, but they have their family in their country. So if they want to go spend time in the weekend with their family, they're gonna go ahead and do so. But with us, it's not the same. So if I have a free weekend, I'm going to spend with probably my teammate.
Yeah, for sure. And would you say that was the hardest part about living outside of Brazil, being away from your family?
It is the hardest part, that's for sure. Uh, there's also, being away from your friends, being away from the things you like to do, in another scenario, sometimes you like to go, here, let's say to the farm and things like this, and in the US, you don't have that opportunity. So there are a lot of hard parts, but I think everything is worth it. If you have a goal, if you have something that you want to do in life, and you think that one of the steps would be the thing that you're doing, it's definitely worth it at the end of the way.
For sure. And now I am in Brazil and you are in Brazil and you just graduated, right? During the pandemic.
Right.
How is it being back home?
Well, I cannot complain. You have mom's lunch every day. This is something that I would never have in the U.S. You have, your house. That you can do whatever you want. You can scream. You don't have roommates in college. You have, uh, dorm neighbors in college. So it's actually good to be at home. It feels different, like we just talked before, and it feels different after a certain amount of months, because we would come back home every single summer, but now it's been longer than one summer. So it feels like, wow, my body is feeling like it's already time to go back, and because of the pandemic and everything that is going on, um, there's not a chance. Maybe there will be in the near future, but as of now, there's not an opportunity that I can go back and keep doing what I was doing. But we got to live with it. The pandemic taught us a lot of things, and we just got to learn how to live with it, and use this experience to grow as a person.
Yeah, and you mentioned about going back. Do you pretend going back? At least I know for now we cannot, but maybe in the near future.
Definitely. So I have a plan of going back, because, like we mentioned a lot on this talk, is because I've been in the U.S. for almost 6 years now, and the reason is that since I graduated, I I did work when I was in college, um, but it was I had to work, I had to go to school, and I had to play at the same time. So I didn't have one thing to focus on. So it was not only about one thing. And when I mean that, I want to have an experience where I can learn different things, where I can bring something back when I eventually come back to Brazil, definitely.
Yeah, you mentioned you worked right at. Did you work at school or outside of
I
school?
did. I did work at school. There are a lot of rules, and sometimes it changes by the state that you're in. But in my school, there was a rule that I could only work certain amount of hours if I were a student, and also I could work only a certain amount of months if it was outside of the school. So the best opportunity that I had, and also because of my time management, it was easier to work at the school, because I wouldn't have to commute, or relocate to any other place. So I did work at the school.
Nice. And did you live on campus or off campus? How was that?
It's a good question, because I did both actually. So when I first got there, I lived on campus in a dorm, and it was my first experience living with someone else in the same room. It's different. It's nice. It's nice.
Mm.
You always have someone to talk. Of course, sometimes you want your privacy. You know, sometimes you just want to put your headphones on and, you know, listen to some music or talk to someone, or even, you know, just be by yourself. But anyway, it was a good experience. I think everyone has to do that, and also there's a rule in my old school where in your first year you would have to do that. So you would have to live in a dorm in your first year if you're willing to live in the school. But my second year, I moved out of the school and I lived in an apartment complex by myself. So it was something totally opposite, you know. So now I'm not living in the school anymore. I don't have all my friends next to me, and I'm not living with anyone anymore. So it's another experience, which was hard at the beginning, but I learned a lot with it. You know how to pay your bills. Uh, it's hard, but
Yeah.
yeah, uh, yeah. So and after that, I went back to the school because I started working and I needed to stay there. You know, I needed to leave there because I only had like 30 minutes, 1 hour after, you know, either after class or after practice, you know, to take a shower, eat, and then go to work or go to class again. So I really had a short time in the middle of my day. So I had to go back, and for my 2 last years, I lived in on campus again.
Yeah, I think it's very important for people to know that we, as an student athlete, we have a lot of things going on, practice and work sometimes, and study. So I think it's very important to kind of know where you want to live to begin with. Maybe move
Right,
outside of the apartment to kind of get used to the culture and the routine. That's for sure.
right,
So you mentioned you went to GCU, which is in Phoenix, Arizona. It's
right.
Christian school, right? How was
Hmm.
that experience for you?
Well, I'm a Christian myself, so I always try to be, you know, next to God. You know, I always try to, you know, pray, and for me, it was a very good experience. You know, I'm not gonna lie, there are a lot of people inside that school that they don't care as much as other people do. You know, the school is growing a lot, and the only thing you can do is that decide if you really want to do that. You know, there an example is every Monday at 11 a.m. there were chapel that you could attend. You know, there was mandatory class, just like, you know, Christian Wordville, and I'm not going to say they force you to do something that you don't want to, but they open their arms, and if you're willing to go, you know, you just dive in and do, and, you know, be close to God, and things like this. Because other schools, you know, smaller schools, I know because of my experience, you know, with other Christian schools, that they sometimes they force you. I'm not going to say they force you, because they're not forcing you. You're willing to study there, so it's totally up to you. But it's mandatory for you to take specific classes that is going to give you a minor degree in Christian studies, for example. So when it comes to Christian school, um, you don't have to be Christian if you want to attend that school. Is that they give you resources, you know, and it's totally up to you if you want to use those resources or not.
Yeah, that's a very good point because I think when people see that the school is a private school and religious school, they kind of get exit like they don't really want to go. I would say that because of
Exactly. Yeah.
the religious side. But it's very good point that they don't force you to do that because you are willing to be there. So yeah, that's really
Yeah.
good. So, what is one advice would you give to someone that wants to go to the US and study there?
Uh, well, there are a lot of things that I would like to say, you know, because when you first asked why I chose the finance and economics, when one of my answers was to help people, and if I could help anyone, you know, to avoid some hard moments that I passed, you know. So I would give a lot of advices, but one thing is get prepared and know what you want to do, because I know a lot of people go to college and they're like, oh, I'm going to college and I'm not going to do anything there. You know, a lot of people have their mentality, I'm going to go to parties every day. But think about after college, what are you going to do? You know, all your classes, are you taking advantage of everything that the professors are giving you? You know, I did not at all of my classes. You know, I graduated with a very good GPA, but it's not only about your GPA, it's how much you know and how much you're ready for the real world when you leave college. So one, my biggest advice will be know what you want to do after college, you know? And it's not, okay, if I decide to do something when I graduate, I need to do that. No, just write down with a pencil, I would say, because you can erase and write it down again. But just make sure that you're taking all the advantage that you can in order to achieve that after college, because there are a lot of distractions. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of distractions. If you're playing tennis and you want to become a professional and you want to use college to become a professional, there are a lot of things that can take you out of your way. There are a lot of things that can take you out of your way, but it's totally up to you if you're going to be on those ways that are taking you out of your track. So, and the same for classes. Maybe your roommates are going to tell you, I'm not going to go to classes. I'm tired. And you're like, oh, but this is very important for me. They're going to teach something that I really need to learn. So although there are a lot of things pushing you out, if you know what you're going to do, and this is one of the reason I'm telling that, because I knew what I want to do after a couple months, after 1 or 2 semesters, I knew what I wanted to do. So I was using that as something to push me towards towards a good opportunity, a good experience, I would say.
Yeah, that's focus. I think it would be my biggest advice as well, because like you said, there are a lot of distractions. There are parties and people not wanting to do something, and you kind of going with it. So that's a
Exactly.
great point. All right, just to finish up, I wanted to play a little game with you. It's called the
Don't
ping
be
pong.
scared.
Yeah, I know. The ping pong game is just like I say one word and you just say something that comes to your head. Just a quick game.
Okay, but you're gonna say a word and then I tell something about that word.
No, whatever comes to your head. It can be one word that comes to your head
Okay,
related to that word I say.
Let's see if I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. All right. 3, 2, 1. Food,
Oh, Chipotle.
drink,
Soda.
color.
Black.
Okay. Team,
GCU tennis.
Brazil.
Oh, churrasco.
Oh, okay. And sport,
Tennis. This I cannot lie.
favorite athlete.
Rafael Nadal.
Nice. And finally, dream job.
Financial advisor.
Nice. All right. Now, thank you, or Leo. Thank you so much for talking to me. You hit some great points, and I think people will appreciate all of that. Thank you so much.
Oh no, don't worry about it. Anytime that whoever's watching, if you need any help and you want to contact me or Lee, I'm sure you're gonna be helped. And thank you again for having me here. It was really nice. I was working before, and right now, I'm having fun talking about old experiences. But yeah, thank you again, and I really enjoyed it.
Leo, or Leo, I should say, hit some great points today, and I really hope you enjoyed this week's episode. There's so many more stories to come. So see you back here next week, as I will have a very nice chat with Héloïse Lenormand from France. See you then. Ciao, hasta luego, adios, bye.